In 2011, Taylor Swift recorded a 10-minute song, and then she locked it away. For 9 years, the original version was hidden from the public, replaced by a shorter, edited track that fit the industry standards of the time. At 20 years old, Swift was already a global superstar. She had just won Album of the Year at the Grammys for Fearless, cementing her dominance over the industry at an age when most artists are just getting started. In late 2010, she began dating the actor Jake Gyllenhaal. He was 29, she was 20. It was a 9-year age gap that would eventually become the primary lens through which the song's story is understood. The relationship lasted exactly 3 months. From October to December, the two were a fixture of New York City paparazzi culture, appearing in matching coats and scarves across Brooklyn and upstate New York. When the relationship ended, Swift produced what she later called her most treasured piece of writing, a 10-minute track that documented the experience. But her record label immediately told her to cut it in half. Working with collaborator Liz Rose, Swift built the track as a chronological account of the relationship's trajectory. It was designed as a minute-by-minute map of its euphoric beginning and its hollow end. To make the album version, Swift had to remove specific, granular memories, a sparf left at his sister's house, a birthday party where she knew no one, and a final, devastating phone call. The label's concern was commercial viability. In 2012, radio stations and emerging streaming platforms had no established template for a 10-minute song. To the industry, the narrative was simply too long to sell. By burying the original lyrics, the industry created a 9-year vacuum. The missing 6 minutes of the story existed only as rumors passed through fan whisper networks and concert recordings. That vacuum ended in November 2021. Swift released the unedited 10-minute version, and the new lyrics provided a directness her previous writing lacked, giving the subject a voice inside the song. The most quoted new line is a direct quote. By using his own justification for the breakup, the lyric highlights his awareness of their age gap, framing it as a callous dismissal rather than a reason for careful behavior. Then there is the "fuck the patriarchy" keychain. Critics at Gawker pointed out that the phrase was not common in 2011, leading to a debate about whether the lyrics were updated for the re-release. Fans, however, focused on the irony of the accessory itself. Regardless of when the lines were written, the song's release led to a public autopsy of the relationship. By quoting his alleged perspective back to him, the new lyrics turned his own words into the primary evidence against his character. To ground the song's new details, Swift wrote and directed a 15-minute short film. She used the visual medium to make the power dynamics she felt in 2010 visible to a modern audience. This comparison shows the leads' ages. Sadie Sink was 19 and Dylan O'Brien was 30. This jarring 11-year gap was calculated, a direct mirror of Swift and Gyllenhaal's real ages in 2010, forcing the audience to watch the numerical power dynamic they had only heard about. Sadie Sink later defended the casting, noting that the conversation around the age gap proved the storytelling was working. She became the conduit for Swift's 20-year-old self. Opposite her, Dylan O'Brien portrayed the subject as a figure who used social isolation and youth as leverage. In the film's central dinner party scene, he ignores her in a room full of his older friends. When she confronts him, he dismisses her as too sensitive, a quiet depiction of a relationship's breakdown. The film received widespread critical praise and sparked a debate regarding its absence from the Academy Award shortlist. It turned a personal history into a technical success that critics compared to the work of Noah Baumbach. In early 2022, Jake Gyllenhaal responded in Esquire. He denied the song was about him, stating it was instead about Swift's relationship with her fans. He concluded by asking for civility and an end to cyberbullying in one's name. The public response was already well underway. Fans review-bombed his associated businesses and edited his Wikipedia page to include the details of a stolen scarf, mirroring the lyrics of the song back at him. Swift's own final comment on the matter came during an interview with Seth Meyers. When asked if people who think the song is about them are having a worse time 10 years later, she looked directly at the camera. She replied, "I haven't thought about their experience, to be honest." It was an 11-word dismissal that effectively ended the interview and the public conversation. To Swift, the subject's perspective was beside the point. This visualization shows the historic result. The 10-minute version became the longest song ever to debut at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The same song that industry gatekeepers called too long for radio in 2012 reached the top of the charts the moment Swift owned the masters and released the full version. By releasing the unedited track 9 years later, Swift did more than break records. She showed that a story once deemed too long could fundamentally change the cultural conversation around age gaps and the ownership of one's own history.